Hi everyone, it's your girl Curly Jamaican here with yet another video for you. Hey, I think that I'm going to kind of stick with the lives because, oh my goodness, to upload one of my signature videos, it is so time consuming. It takes so long to edit, and then, by the time I upload it, I have missed that window when the subject is a hot topic. And, it just gets lost among, everything else. So I think I want to do these lives. The only thing with these lives is that I cannot necessarily, I guess I can edit it, but it's just, you know, it's not going to have my signature thing. Anyway, that being said, I wanted to kind of give my opinion on the Ahmaud Arbery situation. I know a lot of people are up in arms about it because of the racial factor. A white man shot and killed a black man, an unarmed black man, and the media is having a field day with this. Of course, this is just the crux of the there's nothing. This is they don't really highlight other things or emphasize other things. It's all about the race of these people. And I wanted to say that honestly, I feel like we do ourselves an injustice to only focus on the race of these people, because we always end up getting so disappointed when the person that killed or um shot or whatever, or harmed the victim, when that person does not or is not held accountable. We're always disappointed, we're always angry, or even more angry, because we just don't see why, you know, since it's a black man murdered by a white person, why this isn't enough for, injustice to be highlighted and to cause accountability or lead to accountability. Well, I know that this is an unpopular opinion, and I know that I'm supposed to be on the race bandwagon, and I'm supposed to, just go with that narrative. But to not be a disingenuous person, I cannot only focus on that. I cannot. I have to focus on everything, take everything into consideration. Not only the race. You have to take into consideration. And my condolences to Ahmaud Arbery's family. Honestly, I want that man to get justice, and I will, tell you guys how exactly I feel about the situation. But I also want people to understand that you honestly just try to exclude race from it for a second. For a second, because we know that a lot of these things, there's some underlying racial factor, we know. But this is the thing that is least focused on in court, and this is the thing that is least focused on in the legal system, because racism and racially motivated crimes are so hard to prove, unless it's recorded where the person is literally saying, I'm doing this crime because this person is black. It is so hard to prove. And because it's so hard to prove, you have to kind of, for a second, put that to the side and try to see what can be proven. You have to look at the facts that can be used in court and can lead to some type of accountability. So that's why, it really, like, when I see people talking about race and protesting because of racism and stuff like that, whenever a crime like this occurs, I think, what ultimately do you want to see, and what results are you trying to achieve, and how effective is that? I have to question it, because I've never really, there's so many cases where we kind of figure that there may be an underlying racial factor, but that has never won a case or brought anyone to justice. Like it never have. Just highlighting or emphasizing the racial factor. I've just or it might have in when you're able to prove hate crime, but in a lot of cases like the Mark Zimmerman case and the what is the name of that kid that died? Kendrick. Oh my gosh, that case still, like, I'm still haunted by that case. But he was from Valdosta, Georgia, and they found his body in a mat, some type of gym mat, and to this day, nothing has come of that. They're saying that he fell into the mat and whatever happened. But we know that, two brothers had motive and all sorts of things to actually harm this young man, and nothing came of it because a lot of people felt like there was some type of racism involved, and nothing came of it. Nothing came of it because we couldn't prove anything. And I really want us as a race to start to not only look from a racial angle, but from a legal angle with these cases, because we can't really fight or really make a stand or take a stance and and take an effective stance unless it's really a legal one, and unless it's a legal one. Even Martin Luther King, like, he wanted to see a change, but he had to go through the legal system in order to effect this change, in order to end segregation. You have to attack hear me out. To me, racism is like a phantom that it's there, but you can't touch it, you can't prove it, or you can't grab it and do something with it. It's so hard. It's like a slippery eel. But what you can do is to address the laws that make it easy to carry out uh racism or acts of racism. That's what you can do. And I'm not saying that this Ahmaud Arbery case is racism, but I'm just going to say this, and you don't have to agree with me, but a lot of the times, some level of racial factor is involved. He could have been profiled because he was a black man in that neighborhood, and he just probably didn't look like he was, and and he probably was, like they said that he was going through these unfinished uh buildings or structures that were under construction, and he may have been profiled as some type of suspect, and being black doesn't help. So there might actually, one way or the other, there probably was some type of racial factor, but this is, in the legal system, this is just not the strongest um argument. And for me, I just want our people to start looking at it not only from a racial standpoint, but from a legal standpoint too. And we need to be smart how we look at it from a legal standpoint, because I actually heard that for the Mark Zimmerman case, the reason it was acquitted was because we overcharged him, or we tried to get him indicted for something that for something that wasn't the crime, right? It wasn't the crime. So, for example, if you're trying to charge him for murder, but the act was manslaughter, then you run the chance, or the crime was manslaughter, then you run the chance of getting the person acquitted. So, we have to literally think about how we're going to attack the issue from a legal standpoint so that the person is held accountable. Now, I don't want to take forever on this live. So there's something that I'm going to say. This citizens arrest law. I just see it as a law that can be and is easily abused in order to carry out a citizen's arrest. I honestly I think this is like a ticking time bomb because hey girl. Oh, hey, hey. So, I'm on here and I'm just trying to highlight the fact that we need to be able to attack this thing from a legal standpoint and not only address the racial factors um, that we think surround this case. Now, and I say we think because a lot of people are going to argue that this wasn't racism. This was just a person that felt like their community was a threat in their community, and and they felt like this is a threat in this person was a threat to their community, and they acted according to the law. That's what the other side of the story is, and the other side of the story is going to be that this man killed Ahmaud in self-defense because Ahmaud charged him. Ahmaud ran toward him. Ahmaud ran towards a person with a shotgun, right? And he acted in self-defense. So these are things that already weakens Ahmad's case and already um, creates a situation where um, we need a strong case in order to make this man accountable. Now, I'll tell you what I think legally about the situation. First of all, I don't like the citizens arrest law. I don't like it at all because, like I said before, I think it's a law that can be easily abused, and you can commit murder or manslaughter or whatever under this law. And let me take that back. You can kill someone under this law and literally not be held accountable because you're within the citizens you're within the parameters of the citizens arrest laws, which is what a lot of news agencies are saying now, that um the man that killed Ahmad was within his rights and was within his legal rights to do so. Now, my thing is, by the time you know that there's some, or you feel like there's a suspect in your neighborhood, in your community, you feel like there's a burglar. If it's a burglar, he could be armed, he could be dangerous, right? This is what you feel. By the time you think that this person is dangerous and you decide to stalk this person, you decide to lay wait this person, you decide to act in such a way that is honestly a bit reckless because you are endangering your life and endangering the supposed victims or the supposed suspect's life, then, in my opinion, I think that you're playing a really awful game. You're playing a very dangerous game. And for that, there should be some type of reform, some type of reform. I think I'm having some internet connection issues, but I think that there should be some kind of reform to this law to ensure that it's not a law that allows people to just kill other people because in the name of a citizen's arrest. You understand? Because at this point, it's going to always be okay. Like, we're literally going to send the wrong message that, it doesn't matter if you bring this person in dead or alive, you are acting within your rights, and you can do this. You should do this. It is your duty and you can do this. And then, you end up with a person that has lost their life, and you're just able to go on with your life, and you're able to encourage others to do the same reckless nonsense that you did, you know? So I really hate this law as it stands right now. I completely get the fact that you might want to protect yourself if there is immediate danger, if that person presents an immediate threat to you and to your property. I get that. I get if the person is on your property. I get that. I get if the person is literally standing in front of you with a gun or some type, or threatening you or whatever. I get that. I get that, or if you see a crime in progress, like actual robbery or rape or whatever, that you have to act. I get that. So I'm not saying that we should get rid of the citizens arrest laws, because we know that it takes some time for cops to respond in a lot of neighborhoods. We know this, and we shouldn't necessarily see a crime in progress. And if we have the ability, the capability to stop it, then we turn a blind eye. But at the same time, you don't want to put yourself and that person that you think is a suspect. You don't want to put their life in danger. And I see that that is exactly what happened. This man wasn't 100% sure that Ahmaud was any type of criminal or any type of suspect. He just was acting on suspicion. I don't know if it's reasonable suspicion, but he was acting on suspicion. And um, in doing so, he could have died. He could have died himself. But unfortunately, it was Ahmaud who died. It was Ahmaud who died. And it's just, I think about it and I'm like, it could have been avoided. It could have been avoided. You know, and by the time you're just a normal citizen and you bring your shotgun, you're not equipped. First and foremost, we know that Ahmaud, at this point, suffered from some type of mental challenges, right? I don't know to what extent, but he suffered from some type of mental challenges. So as a citizen, you're not taking these things into consideration. You're not. You're not necessarily honestly thinking about the safest way to bring this person in, or to detain this person or to apprehend this person. You're not. A police officer is equipped with their taser. They're equipped with pepper spray or mace. They're equipped with these things where they can try these ways first, try these methods first, um, before actually shooting the person, right? They are equipped with these things. You went with your shotgun, so your first recourse is going to be a shotgun. And that's what happened. That is why I'm thinking, why are we why are there no type of contingencies? Why are there no type of restrictions when it comes to this law? It literally seems like it's up to interpretation, or up to whatever you feel you're within your right to do, and it's up to you just thinking that whether or not it's true, you thinking that you're capable enough to make the arrest. Like, honestly, are you even capable to make the arrest? Are you even capable? Especially to deal with someone that has mental challenges. These are things that you have to think about when you have a law like this in place. So, I wanted to say that about this, and I wanted Black people, my people, to just start thinking from a legal angle, because, you know, even if we know, even if we know that there's some type of underlying racial factor involved, even if we feel this in our heart, that is not what is going to be upheld in court. That is not going to make the case. What do I think is going to happen to this man? He's an ex-police officer. If we don't charge him accurately, we're going to have a Mark Zimmerman situation again. Um, And I don't think he's going to be charged with murder, because he's going to come with the defense that he was acting in self-defense. He was acting in self-defense by the time Ahmaud went after him. But the fact is, Ahmaud himself was probably acting in self-defense too. And if this man has mental challenges, and fight or flight mode kicked in because he felt cornered, he felt stalked, which is something that possibly happened. He knew that this man was stalking him and was cornering him. That fight or flight mode probably kicked in, and he felt like, with the mental challenges that he was facing, rest in peace. He probably felt like his best bet was to go after this man with the gun, right? So Ahmaud himself could have been acting in self-defense as well. And that family's going to need a really good lawyer to take this case. A really good lawyer, you know? And I look at all these people that are saying, oh, this is our legal rights, and this is, and I feel like to some extent, this right can make people infringe on other people's rights, right? For example, America believes that you're innocent until proven guilty. You're innocent until proven guilty. And as a result, due process is something that we are all entitled to. But with this citizens arrest law and people gambling and acting recklessly because they want to apprehend a person, it becomes a matter of taking in someone dead or alive. It's some wild, wild west nonsense. And I was reading up on the history of the citizens arrest law, and literally this law came from medieval times. Can you believe this? This law came from medieval times, which means that in this day and age, we need to be a little bit more intelligent than these people who had less resources than we do today. Back then, the sheriffs, they would actually encourage people to make citizens arrest because of the limited resources. Now we have a lot more resources at our disposal. Do we really need a law this broad to address, to address uh citizens arrests? It's like literally like it's so broad. Like you are literally able to, and let me just read this definition to you. In Georgia, the law states that a private person may arrest someone if a crime is committed in his presence or within immediate knowledge. That is such a gray area. What do you mean immediate knowledge, right? So literally this man can say, well, it wasn't in my presence, but it was within my immediate knowledge. Or anyone that's doing a citizen's arrest can do that. But if it is a felony, the citizen can stop someone from escaping if the citizen has reasonable and probable grounds of suspicion. Really. My thing is, if you have to stalk that person and lay with that person, you should not be going after that person. And there's no actual crime being committed within your presence, and your life isn't in danger, and you're not seeing where anyone else's life is in danger, then you should not be uh you should not be doing the citizen's arrest. That is honestly my opinion on that. I remember Mark Zimmerman stalked that poor kid. He stalked him. Same way right now. This man was lay waiting this man. And if you don't feel like this will create a reaction from these people who know that you're doing this, like literally, and what I've been saying is people, suspects, criminals, victims, whatever, normal people, they will respect the police before they respect you, a person without a badge. And this is a fact. It's a fact. And it is not even arguable. It is, the chances are higher that they will respect a police officer before they respect a citizen. So by the time you stalk them, and these are things that they need to think about where this law is concerned. By the time you, as a citizen, you're stalking them, you're lay waiting them, and you have a shotgun. Imagine what is going through that person's mind who is thinking that they are trapped. Imagine this, and imagine the natural reaction of this person, especially a person with mental challenges. Is this a safe law? No, it's not. Not as it stands. It needs to be reformed. And that's why I want you say you hear y'all. What do you think though? I mean, don't you think that this law needs to be reformed? I think it's too broad. It's way too broad, and it's going to have results like this if we don't send a strong message that, if you're placing your life and that so-called, suspect's life in danger, you know, if you're going to place both your lives in danger, then I don't think you should be making that arrest. If you can't make a safe citizen's arrest, I don't think you should do it. If it's not safe for you and it's not safe for the person, I don't think you should do it. I don't. I think you're gambling. You're gambling, and it's better for the cops to gamble than a regular citizen, because look at what the result is. One person is dead, and the other person is possibly facing jail time. Two people are facing jail time. So I think that this law needs to be reformed, and I think my people, black people, need to protest from this angle, reform this law, because these laws literally it makes it okay to carry out, to be, it's easily abused, and it makes it okay for people to carry out murders and manslaughter and all of that. That's what I think. That's what I think. I think you can abuse this law as it stands. I think that if you are racist, I'm not saying that the guy was, but if you are racist and you feel like you want to commit to kill the person, you literally can, saying that, oh, I was under reasonable suspicion. This person was acting suspicious, and I was just defending my community. I was defending my person and all this. They can literally use that as a defense. And that's what's going to happen now. That's what's going to happen with the with that ex-cop. If you want to be a copper, sign up. No citizens arrest with a weapon. Cops don't get it done, so they want non-liable help. Holla back. Well, okay. Well, we have to make people liable. We have to make them liable. We have to make them accountable. Not liable, I'm sorry. We have to make them accountable so that cops don't rely on people like this. You understand? Honestly, we have to make them accountable, because honestly, Chris, we're sending the wrong message if this man gets off. We're sending the wrong message. There are too many incapable people who think that they can make citizens arrest and end up just making a mess of things, end up killing people. And that's what happened. If you'd rather see someone dying than just the cops safely handling a situation, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't even care that Ahmaud, if he was in that area and he had no business to be there, if he was possible suspect, if he fit whatever profile, it doesn't matter, because your constitution, the American Constitution, says that everyone is entitled to due process. So this man needed to go to be detained um in order to go through the legal process. You understand? He needed to be detained in order to go through the legal process. Arms degrade and taking innocent lives. It should be illegal to kill, detain, but not kill. Yes, exactly. Exactly. You understand? By the time someone ends up dead, that should be a criminal offense, and it shows that you weren't capable of making a citizen's arrest. You weren't capable. I mean, literally, is a man's life, because according to the other side of the story, he was going into these buildings under construction. Is a man's life really worth that? Or is that really worth a man's life, I should say? Well, that makes sense, Chris. That literally makes sense. Right, because you know that cops they're under fire if they end up killing someone while they're trying to detain them or arrest them. So, but the thing is, we need to make people accountable. We need to make them accountable so that, even if this is the game, to have people that are non-liable make their arrest, even if this is the game, by the time we make him accountable, by the time we make this man and his son accountable, then we'll get we'll be sending the correct message that you can detain but you can't kill. Yeah, it needs to be reformed. Absolutely, it needs to be reformed. And I think that he's not. Honestly, I think he's going to get a slap on the wrist. Honestly, I don't even think he's going to even spend a day in jail. I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't think he's going, because he's within the law allows him to do this. The legal system allows him to do this. He's within his right according to the legal system. And if people ends up being killed, that's just a casualty of the law. That's just a casualty of the law. And that's why I'm telling Black people, okay, I understand that you're angry and you're protesting because it was a white man that killed a Black person, but y'all have to understand that these laws make it legal to kill a Black person. You're not going to be able to end racism. You're not, honestly, you're not going to make people all of a sudden just stop targeting Blacks. And I'm not saying he was targeted, but I'm just saying it's not going to happen. So when your anger is channeled towards the fact that the man was white, the man that killed Ahmaud was white, your your energy is being focused on something where the result or the effect is just there's no result to that. There's no result to it. You're just literally just displaying your anger for racism, which we all should be angry, you know, about racism. We should, but I'm talking about getting results. I'm talking about um changing laws. That's what I'm talking about. You understand? I'm talking about something effective. To me, crying over racism and protesting racism and highlighting the fact that the man was white and Ahmad is Black, it's like chewing gum. He's Black, he's white, Ahmad is Black, and this is the reason why he died. Chris, charge those wannabes with first degrees. Take all their stuff and CPS. I protest cops regularly. God bless you for using your First Amendment. Thank you. Yes, yeah. And I believe in the Constitution. Honestly, I do believe in it. I love the Constitution. I think that's why America is great. But Chris, remember what happened with I said Mark Zimmerman. I'm sorry, with George Zimmerman. Do you remember what happened with him? Do you remember what happened with him? Thank you, Amelia. Am's the Great. Thank you so much. Even if it's racism, you cannot, like, protesting about racism is so ineffective. Like, it's literally so ineffective as long as you have laws that can enable it, or laws that can justify killings like these. Like, this law literally justifies the citizens arrest law, even though that's not the purpose. Look, Oh my gosh, Chris, I don't think we should charge him with first degree murder, even if that's probably what he deserves. Let's think about it. With George Zimmerman, they overcharged him and he ended up being acquitted. He ended up being acquitted because the crime didn't fit, the so-called crime didn't fit the charges, or the charges didn't fit the crime according to their legal system, right? Because he also was acting within his right to make an arrest, or to target this kid. So they ended up acquitting him because according to them, that wasn't the crime. And I think there was like some type of double jeopardy, so they couldn't they couldn't charge him again or put him through the legal system again for the same crime. So he ended up getting away scot free. Like, if you know how to play the system, this is what is going to happen. If you know how to use this system, use these laws, you're going to just have these killings where no one is held accountable. That's what I'm telling my people. We need to be up on these laws. We need to know how these laws really work so we can find loopholes to hold these people accountable. You think it's fair that because you think you're under reasonable suspicion, you can go stalk someone and make them probably and intimidate them, and then when they do react, especially if they are mentally challenged, when they do react, because they're probably defending themselves, you get to murder them and then walk away? That's crazy. But that's our legal system. That is our legal system. It justifies these killings. Now, let me say this. What if there was a penalty for these people when they end up killing someone? Do you think they would think twice about making a citizen's arrest? Do you think maybe instead of a gun, they'll probably go out there with maybe a bat, or maybe with a taser if they have one, or with it is going to, that is it. It's the grade. It is manslaughter is that's it. And manslaughter is not the same as first degree murder. So of course he's not gonna get the same. It's not going to be the same penalty. That's what it's going to be. That is it. Yes, another example. Zimmerman is a wannabe. He had ill intent. Yeah, you're right on scot free. Suspicion ain't no cause. I agree with you 100. Do you have a channel? Yes, this is my channel, Curly Jamaican. Subscribe. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So that's it. If we don't understand this legal system and we can't operate within the realms of this legal system, we're going to always be crying about racism, and we're never going to get results. We're never going to get results. Racism isn't the fight. You can't stop people from being racist. Racism occurs, and the Caucasian community, the Asian community, the Black community, it occurs. Because it is. It is what it is. It's almost like human nature for dumb people to be racist, right? I'm sorry, that's just what it is. That's not where you waste your energy. You waste your energy and you fight within the paradigm, because it's a paradigm. These laws can be changed, but these are the laws that are used to justify killings. You can't prove racism, but you can prove ill intent, or you can prove that the killing wasn't justified. That's what you can prove. So that's where our energy needs to be. And if you ask a good portion of people, what's the difference between manslaughter and what's the difference between first degree, second degree, and third degree murder, a lot of us don't even know. A lot of us don't even know. And the easiest thing to do is to say racism. Yes, it might be racism, but is that where you're fighting? Is an angle to fight from? No, you have to fight within the paradigm. You have to fight within the paradigm, within the parameters of the law. You go into court, they're going to look at the evidence. They're going to look at Hey, why was Ahmad there? Was he did he really appear suspicious? Was and I'm so sorry, I really don't remember the guy's name, but was he within his right to stalk and lay wait Ahmad? And according to the citizens arrest laws or law, yeah, he was, according to the law. But if you ask me, that is dangerous thing, the most dangerous thing that you can do as a citizen. That's the most dangerous thing. Why would you stalk someone that you think is dangerous? Are you out of your mind? If you genuinely think this person is dangerous, why would you stalk them? And yes, you brought your gun as protection, but your gun ended up taking a life. Your gun ended up taking a life. Chris, do you listen to Candace Owens? Thanks for talking to me. Stapleton sings That Day Will Come. Me and my wife, Suzette, digging your word. Amen and good day. Thank you, Chris. Oh my goodness, I really love the support. Thank you so much. Am's the great. That is exactly what I said, but they felt like they were operating within their rights. And you have these entitled people that feel like the Constitution and these laws are there for their rights to not be infringed upon, but they're the ones that end up infringing on other people's rights. You infringed on this man's right to life, period, full stop. You infringed on his right to due process. This man didn't have a chance to go in and prove his innocence. He didn't have a chance for that. Whether or not he's guilty, he didn't have a chance for that because you took his life because you didn't want to stay home and call the cops. You didn't want to stay home and call the cops. No, you're capable. You're acting within your right. No, so you're going to take a shotgun, and whatever happens, happens. If feces hit the fan, then feces hit the fan. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to curse on here. You know, he's just a casualty. And this is the desensitized mentality that goes with just think with these laws. It desensitizes you. You understand? Oh, I'm within my right, therefore I can act accordingly. And if you die, you just die. But I bet if you were held accountable, then you would take care. You would take care to preserve this man's life, even though you believe he's suspicious. And ultimately, these laws should be there to make sure that you take care. You act within reasonable care to preserve a person's life. That's my doggy. I'm sorry. No, 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 no. Dookie. Okay, so yeah, so that's as far as I'm concerned, if this law allows you to infringe on someone else's right, this law is not this law should invalidate this law, period, full stop. You understand? Okay, I'm sorry guys, you just went ham. Anyway, yeah, I feel like if this law or any law allows you to legally murder someone or legally kill someone and infringe on their right to due process, then that should invalidate this law because this is what this does. We're not in the medieval ages. We're not. We have technology resources and we have different ways of bringing in people alive. And if all the ways have not been exhausted to bring this person in alive, like the cops, calling the cops, if it has not been exhausted, then you should be held accountable for murder. You should be held accountable for murder. So I don't think the argument is whether Ahmaud was wrong to be in that neighborhood. I don't think the argument is whether he was a criminal or not, whether he had a criminal history. I don't think the argument is even the fact that He charged at the guy. I don't even think that is the argument, because the fact is, the man, he made a conscious decision to put himself in harm's way, to put Ahmaud in harm's way. He made that conscious decision. And as a result of his reckless decision, someone ended up losing their life. And the law needs to be reformed to reflect this. That by the time you have stalked and lay waste someone, by the time you have done this and caused that person, triggered that person's reaction, and you're not a police officer, you should be held accountable. Because the fact is, if your presence wasn't there, this man would probably be alive today. And what were you protecting? Was a crime really committed? Was a crime really in progress or was committed? You don't even know. You were acting under reasonable suspicion, according to you. And I will say you were just acting under suspicion. That is what I will say. But guys, I have been on here for, I didn't expect that this would go all the way to 46 minutes. And then my dookie started barking. Gosh, ruining my life. But thank you guys for tuning in, for listening. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your opinion is. You know, I'm not even I'm not even talking about racism when it comes to this crime, because I know that a lot of my Caucasian brothers and sisters will come on here and say it wasn't racism. The man was acting within his rights. But that man acting within his rights, him acting within his rights, caused the death of someone else. So someone else who, without much evidence, was just a person in the neighborhood. Was just a person in the neighborhood. Even if the facts come up later that he was there doing something, when that man lay waited him and stalked him, this man was just a person in the neighborhood. So you killed him because you were suspicious. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know. Um, do you think that the law needs to be reformed? I think so, yes. And I think that Brian Kemp need to definitely address this law. They need to narrow it down. It's way too broad. It's way too broad, and it's so broad that honestly, anyone acting within the, yeah, it needs to be reformed. Thank you, Ams the Great. It needs to be reformed. Anyone acting under the guise of this law will is almost guaranteed to get away. Is almost guaranteed to get away with unlawful killing. They're guaranteed, whether or not they have ill intent. You can't even at this point. Does it even make sense to prove ill intent because of this law? He could do what he was doing, what he did, and I'm not saying that he had ill intent. I'm just saying that if someone did have ill intent, if someone did, this law could be easily abused. But AM's the great, not just to prevent acts of racism, but the protection of human life overall. Thank you. My gosh. My gosh. Powerful words. Powerful words. Thank you. That is exactly what I am saying. Thank you, AM's the great. That is exactly what I am saying in in a matter of few words. I am saying to protect, to preserve human life. In the past, you could bring in criminals dead or alive. In the past, you could do that because we didn't have the legal system then that we have today. Now, if you're making a citizen's arrest and bringing in someone dead, this this law is not the move. The government can't leave it to people and vigilante justice to bring in criminals. You can't do that. You can't leave it to vigilante justice. This is literally vigilante justice. What is the point of the legal system if it cannot protect the very people, whether you are a criminal or not? What is the point? And this law cannot guarantee that a person will not die. This law cannot guarantee the safety of the person that is presumed to be the suspect. Black America, you better wake up, man. You better wake up and understand how how the legal system works and how it works to protect people who abuse it. Not saying that this man is abused it, but it works for that. And it doesn't make people act within reasonable care. Because let me tell you something. If you knew that you might end up going to jail for first degree murder or second degree murder, if you ended up trying to do a citizen's arrest and someone ended up dying, if you knew that, oh, you would act within reasonable care. You would be very careful. You would assess your situation a lot more. You would think, you know what, I really want to, I want this man arrested because I see him committing a crime, right? He is committing a crime within my presence. My property is in danger, my life is in danger, possibly my neighbor's life is in danger. If that's the case, I am going to try my very best to make sure that he lives while I'm trying to protect my neighborhood. Oh, that's what you would be thinking. And if it was just someone walking around in your neighborhood, you wouldn't be stalking them unnecessarily. You wouldn't be doing it. You just wouldn't. You would probably just call the cops. The only time my incapable butt would find myself trying to do a citizen's arrest is if you're in my face about to threatening my life, threatening my property, threatening my kid's life. And at that point, if you end up dying as a result because you're on my property, because you're threatening my life, it is justified. This killing is not justified, but I can't prove that. I can't say that because the law as it stands justifies this killing. It justifies the killing. All right, but thank you guys for listening to me. You know, I know a lot of you might not agree, but this law is way too broad, and you guys just need to you guys need to understand that preserving life is ultimately the most important thing. It's ultimately the most important thing. Your property is not the same, does not have the same value as a human life. It doesn't. So there's no reason why a person's life should be at risk like that because of property. Now, if of course, like I said, if your life is in danger, then I get it. But this man was unarmed. He was walking around in the neighborhood. Maybe he wanted to commit a crime. We don't even know. That's why there's a legal system. You have to prove this. He's innocent until proven guilty. That is the premise of the United States laws. That is the premise. You don't have the right to deny that man that, and he has been denied that. So, black people, the Constitution is yours too. It is yours. You better act like you own that Constitution. You better act like you own it. You better act like you own it, because that is the only way we can really bring people to justice. All right, bye. Thank you. See you.